Alright, I got my edges rounded over here. But it's not sanded yet. These edges are still sharp. What I've done is I've transferred you can't see it, I don't think. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are my sides. So then I'm going to label this as 2. And I've got a center line here. And it's important that with this, the way this goes together, this extra 3/8 out here makes a difference where center is. You can't center it up on the piece. It's got to be offset that little bit. So I got my center line there, and I'm eyeballing it basically. Not basically, that's what I'm doing. I'm eyeballing center here, and then I'm squaring it up this way. Okay, so that will be my registration line for my dowel jig. I'm going to use I can't see it. Let me do this again. So there it is right there. So I'll use this edge here and this side to locate my dowels. And then I'll just repeat the process as I wrap around the piece here. So I'm going to make this line right here. Let's see, where am I? There. And then I will make a check mark on this side and a check mark on the bottom. So a check mark on this side and a check mark on the bottom. Okay, so let me get my dowel jig and I'll show you how I'm going to set this up. Alright, I got my leg holes drilled, so I'm just getting started on this one here. And we'll move this up one. Square it up. Drill my last one here. I gotta grab some more dowels. Beautiful. All right, so that's my method. So I'm gonna drill. I'm gonna drill these 5 holes, and I'm gonna keep it up in here. This one I'll fill with a short dowel here somewhere. So I'll fill this hole, cut this off flush, and then put the other half in here and flush it up. Yeah, because that's not going to work. Okay. So that'll be, that's leg number one, or actually it's leg on side number two. But you get the idea how that's going to go together. And then that'll clamp nice and tight. Okay, I'll rotate, do all the remaining three, and I'll come back and let you see what it looks like. All the holes were drilled and everything went well that way. This is kind of an exciting time for me when I start to see things come together. So I've got the legs just dry clamped in place, and everything is nice and tight, except this one leg back here. I think I've got a dowel that's either a hole that's not deep enough or a dowel that's just a hair too long. But I'll fix that. Where it's going to hit the floor here, I'm not that far off really. I'm only off about maybe a 32nd of an inch, so I don't think that'll take too much to correct that. And then round over these edges. So that'll be one of the next things I need to do, along with a lot of sanding. These have got to be sanded. And I did get my cross pieces sanded as well, or not sanded, but rounded over. So that's going to work great. And other than that, things are looking good. So I'm going to take this apart. I'll get the legs off and just start doing a bunch of sanding on this thing. And I won't bore you with that. But everything will be coming together, and hopefully the next time we get together or I start taping, I'll be gluing it together. So I am going to make some pencil marks on the bottom here to see how much I really have to take off of here. And like I say, it's not much. Okay, we will get together after I'm done with my marathon sanding here. Now it took me till the third one to figure this setup out, or setup. This is kind of a strange piece, but what I've got is a couple of blocks like this underneath here to elevate it. Then my Jorgensen clamp is on the two flats here, and that holds it pretty well. So I'm able to lift the grain here. So I was tempted to get my half sheet sander out, but I think this is the better way of doing this, so not too aggressive. So then if I want to flip it over, and I'm just sanding them all to 150 right now. But then I start again with 80 grit on this side. using these sanding blocks, you know, you're able to use the whole paper. I've used this one sheet of 80 for the whole thing. It's still got some pretty good bite on it yet. And I'm on my 6th side. I think it'll last me the whole way. And I switched to 100 here, or 120, I'm sorry. Oh, lost her. There we go. Okay, so then when I get ready to do the other part here, I just clamp it this way. And this part I'm just starting right at 150 because coming off of those router bits, that flush cut router bit and the round over bit, there's not a lot to remove here. Yeah, so I got the edge hanging off here and I'm able to come right over. All right. And the last thing is to just catch these edges. A little chip out right there, but hopefully I'll be able to remove most of that when I level these off. Most of what I have to remove is coming off of this end right here. So hopefully that'll go away. Okay. So that's to 150. It's looking pretty good. Got one more to go. And this one I'll start in this position and work my way back the other way. I was just going over my clamping strategy to glue up this post. And you can see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have 4 clamps pulling in the 2 different directions here. And it pulls it together quite nicely. And I've got it sitting on my cross that's glued together. But that's not glued to the table yet. But I'm using it to keep this stuff, to keep these aligned, because these do not sit flat on the table. They're just a bit off, a bit raised, if you remember from when I had it turned over. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you this. This is the Bessey Rapid Action Clamp. And all I did was double stick tape some wood blocks on here. And then the other tip I would say is put them on in like a diamond shape, and you leave that little corner. That way you'll have something pretty easy to get started when you want to remove that tape from the metal, because it'll stick to this. You know, it won't come off of this. The block will come off before the tape comes off that metal. But that worked out pretty slick. I mean, they stay on there pretty decent. You got to be a little bit gentle, but put it over there and give it a couple of clicks. And that's all it needs. No more pressure than that. So anyway, I'll get some glue ready. And we'll put this thing together. Yeah, and here's my clamps down at the bottom. I guess maybe you didn't see that while I was explaining to you. This notch butts up against the cross piece, but it does not allow it to go flat to the table, so it keeps everything lined up. And I'm nice and flush up here on the top. So I'm going to use that to my advantage, using this as my kind of my jig to hold things together. And then once I get it clamped up, I'll pull it off, so that I don't get any glue on the table here or get anything. Well, it won't stick to this, but I'll just pull it off of there and let it sit by itself. All right, we'll see in a little bit with some glue, and we'll get this thing done so I can go to work on it tomorrow. All right, I got everything pulled apart here, and looking this over, I was thinking that I'd have to put glue in every single one of these channels, but I only have to put glue in the left side of each of them, with the right side mating into that channel. So being in that it's plywood, I'm going to do This is the inside. Gotta make sure I got this. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is put glue, put glue in here and on this outside edge. So because it's going to sit up against this edge here. It's going to be incredibly strong anyway with all this glue surface, but I don't want a lot of glue squeeze out to deal with. So I'll just take my time and coat it up pretty good, and then we'll start slapping them together here. This plywood will soak up the glue pretty quickly. So you want to have it on. And this being the inside, I don't have to worry so much about slopping glue in there. And then just a little on this outside edge. Okay, there's one. Okay. Now this one is this edge. Good thing I put pencil marks on here. let's start putting them together here. Looking good. I think I'm going to get a couple more clamps on it here in the middle. See, it's over here. Something like that. It's good on the top. You got nice little squeeze outs. Nothing too drastic. And we're going to go right here. Actually, I'm going to go this way. This is a little open right here. Okay, the other thing I did was I glued this down so that now I can take this off of here. I don't want any glue, if there's glue squeezing out and coming down on the inside corners there, I don't want it binding it to the table here. So let me just lift this off. And yeah, there are some spots here. Not too bad yet, but you can see inside here that the glue is running down, wants to run down, I should say. I'm just going to turn this over. Yeah, it's good. So there she is. You got a nice tight joint here, and I did also on the bottom. You can see I don't have a lot of glue squeeze out here, but I can see on the inside corners that I've got glue squeeze out just about all the way down on all of them. There's a few spots here and there where it didn't come out, but it's going to be, like I said, incredibly strong because of this, all this surface area, glue surface area, and the way it self squares together. So once that sets up, that baby ain't coming apart again, that's for darn sure. So when that gets, tomorrow I'll come down and take the clamps off, and then we can put the cross inside here and glue it into these channels. And oh no, before I do that, I got to round these corners over. That's right. Got to round over the corners and do some sanding on it first. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Anyway, we'll see what happens with this thing tomorrow. Alright, I couldn't stand it. Been a couple hours and I want to take the clamps off and see how this thing looks. These worked out great. I don't think I'm going to be needing them with the tape on here anymore, so let me show you what I did here. So just double stick tape within this corner that didn't get taped down. Gives you something to grab onto here to peel this off. Just like that. No residue on that metal, that's nice. do with the other one? Here it is. Well, that one popped right off. So that's a cool little tip right there to soften up your jaws with a piece of wood. A little bit of residue on that one. And if you can't hang on to it, why? It helps, that double stick tape helps to hold it in place. All right, let's take a look at this here. Looks pretty good. Got some glue residue here to scrape off, which I'll do right now. And then tomorrow we'll take a look at rounding this thing over. So let me scrape off the glue, and I will be doing the rest of the work tomorrow. Promise.